Hey there, email marketers. Do you want to skyrocket your email marketing game, land straight into your subscribers' inboxes, and watch those open rates soar? If that sounds like a dream come true, then you're in the right place. Today, we're going to unlock the secrets of email authentication, including DMARC, DKIM, and more. By mastering these email authentication techniques, you'll not only protect your brand reputation, but also increase your deliverability and ROI in the email marketing campaigns. And guess what? This video is just the tip of the iceberg. We've got a complete email marketing course available on our channel for free, designed to turn you into a true email marketing guru. So hit the subscribe button and let's get started on the path to email marketing success. Stay tuned. It's only like 10 to 20 minutes tops. Thanks. Okay, so email authentication, it is basically, and I want to explain it in as simple terms as I can. Email authentication is basically you convincing Gmail that your email infrastructure is legit. So basically, let's say you're using Klaviyo, and this I will talk a lot about Klaviyo because it's my favorite emailer out there, and because I love it, and they have the best support, and their UI and UX are pretty much all you need. And let's say you are sending an email from Klaviyo, and the email authentication, actually I did a special slide for this one. Let's say you are sending an email to some Gmail prospect. What happens is when you send the email, you're actually allowing Klaviyo to send on your behalf, but Gmail does not know this. And what happens is they need to figure out if Klaviyo or any other sender that pretends to be you is legit or not. So what they do is to check the DNS entries, and the DNS entries are basically kind of like a phone book. You know, when you type google.com in your browser, it converts that into an IP address, and then you go to some server, and that server gives you back the page you want to view. So when you're sending an email, Gmail looks at your DNS, say you implemented them at Namecheap or GoDaddy or whatever you bought the domain from, or you're holding the DNS at if you're using a third-party service. But to simplify this conversation, let's say you're using Namecheap. So Gmail goes to Namecheap and asks them, hey, does domain.com, let's say your domain johnny.com, does know of this Klaviyo server or whoever that is, or is that some dude trying to spoof an email and to do some shady stuff? And all of this is done through 3 protocols, and I'm not going to go into too much details, but they're called DMARC, SPF, and DKIM. And the DMARC is kind of like the governor. It gives the rules of what happens if the SPF and DKIM fail to authenticate. So basically, first Gmail looks at the DNS, sees whatever the DNS is located, or the phone book, if you will, and then it looks at the SPF and DKIM. And in here, they need to find some entries that point to the Klaviyo servers or MailChimp or whatever you're using, Aweber or whatever. And if it doesn't find them, then DMARC tells Gmail what to do with that email. And this was implemented because you can send an email from johnny.com, from hello@johnny.com, and say hi to your subscribers, but at the same time, someone else, let's say a hacker or whatever, they can send the same email to Gmail and offering that link with a virus or malware or whatever. And Gmail has to have a way of distinguishing between a legit server and a hacker. And this is done through these protocols. And if you're not authenticated, then Gmail has to decide based on the DMARC rules what to do. And if DMARC is very strict, then this email has a super high chance of going directly into the spam folder. Whereas if DMARC is not strict or does not exist at all, then Gmail has the freedom to do whatever they want to do with that email. And this this basically results in some emails going into the spam folder, some emails going into the inbox folder, but you can never tell for sure what happens unless you actually test and see it. So basically these days, if you are authenticated, you're going to see super high open rates, especially with these numbers inflated by the Apple privacy updates, where, as I was saying earlier, where the Apple devices and the Apple email apps open automatically the emails to scan them for whatever viruses or whatever they want to scan them from. And basically, we do work with a brand that is getting around 70% open rates, and we're not talking about a small list, but like 30,000 emails sent on a regular campaign. So again, this is hugely important. And I saw emails going to the inbox without being authenticated, and I saw a lot of emails going to the spam folder. So what you need to do is to actually go and authenticate with your sender. And all of the senders have this option these days. So I personally did this with ActiveCampaign, with MailChimp, and with Klaviyo. And it's, if you look at it, it's not very hard. It's basically just copy paste, but it's hard to know what to do and where to do it. So be careful, because if you're deleting entries from your DNS records, you may this may result in your website going offline. So if this is a live website, make sure you know what you're doing. Yeah. So what happens after you change your DNS settings and you authenticate? Basically, this is a change that happens overnight. Most of the times I did this, and I did this quite a few times already. Most of the times it's a matter of a couple of days. And for that brand that had the reputation, they used to have a bad reputation inside of the Gmail. They have a tool called Postmaster tool, and inside of that, their reputation was as low as it can be, and it went to the highest level. But for them, it took around 5 to 6 weeks or something like that. For the others that didn't have this problem, the change was pretty much overnight. So after I did this, one of the brands has seen a huge increase in sales, like over $150,000 in recovered sales. So basically, we're talking about people that never clicked, never opened the emails, but after the change, they started buying. So that's a huge increase in sales. So I'm sure you can imagine a lot of these emails were just going into the spam folder. And a good way to test this is to use a service. I used to use Mailgun, but I'm no longer using them because they got acquired, I think, by Snitch, I think. And they used to have a feature that's called seeding. Basically, they give you a list of email accounts, and you copy and paste them. You import them in your email, or let's say Klaviyo or MailChimp. And whenever you email those, they check them. They check the inboxes automatically, and they see where they get placed. So in my tests for the brands I worked with back in the day when I was using Mailgun, a lot of them a lot of the emails were going to the spam folder. So again, this isn't guaranteed in any way. Like, you sometimes, if you're not authenticated, sometimes you can land in the inbox, and sometimes you can land in the spam folder. And if you drag your emails and basically mislead Gmail into thinking for you it's going to the inbox, but you're not seeing open rates over 30%, then you know you have a problem. Yeah, so this is pretty much point number one, which is the authentication. Again, to conclude, it is the way of you telling Gmail that you are allowing Klaviyo or MailChimp or whatever emailer you're using to send emails to your list, to send on your domain's behalf. So Klaviyo is allowed to send on behalf of Johnny.com, and once Gmail sees that through the SPF and DKIM protocols, it's going to place you in the inbox folder. Of course, if you don't have a bad reputation or a bigger problem with your sending infrastructure, but this is pretty much all regarding the authentication. I mean, the short version of it, because it's this process is not that simple, but I wanted to make sure I don't spend like 3 hours explaining it. So this is pretty much all you need to learn and do it. And with Klaviyo, let me show you real quick.